Hey, thanks again for pressing play and welcome once again to another edition of the Suns Jam Session Podcast. Yes, we are sitting here mulling through and going through all of the division previews in the different divisions that need to be previewed in the NBA, ultimately ending with the Pacific Division where we could talk about our Phoenix Suns. But welcome, Matthew. How you doing, man? How you doing there, guy?
I'm doing good. It's a fine Wednesday evening, and you just let me know the Yankees won. And I watched yesterday's game, and I'm always let down by the Yankees. So I didn't watch today's, and they ended up winning. So we'll keep it that way tomorrow, right?
You
play again?
you listen to Ryan Russillo, right?
I do, yeah.
Did you listen to his that came out today?
I will listen to the last part of it.
Okay, so listen to the very beginning because he talks about baseball and he talks about how he's like it's kind of nice being like a fair weather, whatever.
Yeah.
Fair weather baseball fan. He's like, I used to give a shit about it so much, and I go through a whole season, and it would really annoy me how, people just show up in the postseason. He's like, now I totally get it. You sit, you watch a couple games, and then what happens? You sit there, and all of a sudden you're like, what the fuck's this guy doing? Like you've been sitting there the whole season. So it's actually kind of nice because I'm the same way. The Dodgers are actually getting ready to play. They won last night. And, I can't go through the grind anymore. Maybe it's because I care too much about basketball, but the grind of baseball is just too much. But once the postseason comes around, it's October 1st. Once October 1st comes around, I'm all about it, man. I'm thoroughly going to enjoy it. Just kind of being
the games are more fun, too. They go by a lot quicker, which is nice. It's 2.5 hours. And I do think that it's always like the same shit with the Yankees, but it is fun, like you said, seeing the players that are like in Red Sox uniforms, like Chapman. I didn't know he was their closer. I had no idea. And he gave up 3 hits to start. I'm like, let's go. Some things never change, but he struck them all out. So it was nice to watch the Yankees just for a little bit, but I think I'm done because they're not going to win tomorrow.
Well, we'll see, tomorrow. And again, thank you to everyone for watching the Suns Jam Session Podcast. We will talk basketball here, but we are on the BLEAV Podcast Network, and we're sponsored by FanDuel. And if you're like Matthew and you think that they're not going to win tomorrow, the Yankees are a minus 162 favorite. This new wild card round that they've been doing for a few years, it's interesting because they play 3 games, best of 3, but they're all at home. And if you want to get real crazy, plus 128 on the Yankees winning by 1.5 runs or more. So if they score 2 runs, you can win some money. So make sure you go to FanDuel to place your bets and bet responsibly and whatnot. What we're going to do on this show, we're going to preview the Southeast Division. But first, we're going to have a little Phoenix Suns news. So let's drop it first.
You're listening to the Suns Jam Session Podcast, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019.
That's right. We've been previewing different divisions. We've done 2 thus far, while simultaneously making predictions. And the only division that we have left is the Southeast Division. But before we get to that, training camp has started, and this is a Phoenix Suns podcast, so we have to lead it off with some Phoenix Suns news.
And now, ladies and Jamsters, news about the Phoenix Suns.
So there's not a ton of news coming out of training camp other than the hype videos. I don't know if you've seen Dylan Brooks D'ing up everybody from Colin Gillespie to Mark Williams. I mean, he's trying to flex on everybody.
Yeah,
which is fantastic. It's great to see. But I think the one bit of news that kind of came out, obviously, it's October 1st, the 3rd, 2 days away, is the first preseason game for the Phoenix Suns. Our first post-game podcast this season. How's that feel?
Does it count though? Or
I count it because it's the first. Okay. It's the first. Here's why I count it.
People are scouting us. It's how we do in the
because it's our first chance to see this team, and it's our first chance for you and I to just kind of talk about them after actually watching them on the court. Because I have no drops for this team. The past couple seasons, I've had a ton of drops created over the summer in preparation for when the season started, and I have Dylan Brooks, I got Devin Booker. Jordan Goodwin, I brought his back from like 2 or 3 seasons ago. But I don't have one for Jalen Green or Mark Williams. Nick Richards has one because he was here. And I was thinking about that, and I go, it's because we haven't seen him play yet. Sometimes there's a nice there's a nice alliteration you can do, or some creativity that's sparked by simply the name of the player. But a lot of these guys, I just want to see who they are and see what naturally comes to fruition. And that normally happens right here on the Suns Jam Session podcast. So, yeah, I count it. I count it as our first kind of post-game. It's a preseason post-game pod. Now, granted, we won't be doing them all because unless you want to do 7 a.m. podcasts because they're going to be in fucking China. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm sorry, man.
Is that on the weekend, though? Those are the weekend, right? Is it a Sunday?
One's a Friday, I think.
Okay.
I don't know.
Probably not.
Yeah,
I think if we get one solid one in, that's all we need for the whole season, right? Just
I think
a lot of these players.
I mean, we have to kind of
Mark Williams isn't playing.
Well, and that brings me to my first bit of Phoenix Suns news, and kind of the only Phoenix Suns news I want to talk about is the simple fact that Mark Williams will not be playing most likely in this preseason game. And this entire preseason, here's what head coach Jordan Ott had to say.
Camp started a long time ago. Since July 1st, he's been in here more than anyone else, developing his strength. I think he's more than doubled his lower body strength in that time period. So he does everything in practice that we ask except for the live 5-on-5 at this point. It's the same. Like, we have a plan for him. We know what his previous 3 years were. So we have a plan for him going forward. I don't think anything will change before the China trip. So when we get home from the China trip, we'll keep evaluating him. He's still doing as much as he can, just not the live 5-on-5 at this time.
So just hearing you say that, is he going to play in the preseason games?
Yeah, I think that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to assess exactly where he is. The goal is there at the end of camp to get him as ready as he can. So he's on a good path. Like I said, every drill work you see him, you're going to see him in. So it's just not the live 5-on-5 right now.
So he hasn't done the scrimmaging or anything like that?
Yeah, no live 5-on-5.
As far as the drills,
everything.
Shooting and everything?
Yeah.
Okay. So will he play?
It's all part of the plan.
Okay. Will he play Friday?
No, not Friday.
Okay. No, okay. Usually in camp, you have situations where guys have nicks, bruises. Have you had to sit anyone out?
We don't need to continue on with that. But yeah, thoughts on the fact that Mark Williams, who obviously is come into Phoenix with a reputation of being somebody who's injury prone, is not going to be ready for the first preseason game of the Phoenix Suns preseason.
I mean, is it as bad as hearing about like Bradley Beal already having knee injury issues and like who knows if he's going to play in the preseason? I don't think it's as bad as
very
that.
Fair.
We all knew that was coming, and it's not a shot at Bradley Beal. It's just that's what it's expected. But also, Mark Williams are not used to the fact that he has been missing time, and there's a reason that the Hornets want to move on from him. There's a lot of potential. I think they're doing a fine job by just managing it. I think it was expected, but the one thing is, like, I do worry kind of because the managing part, I don't know if does it help or hurt the players by not just like kind of having them work through it while playing games. I don't know. I feel like when it comes to managing the injuries, it never ends well. I'm not saying he's only played 20 games this season, but it's just nothing that is ever satisfying when the season ends. But like, yeah, he actually only played 46 games, and that's what we expected because they had to manage him. It's like, I don't want to look forward to that too much. Yeah,
it's one of those situations where the history of the NBA has kind of showcased to us that load management and all that stuff doesn't necessarily work. People just get injured. It happens. If you put them in bubble wrap, now they're not a part of the chemistry of the team, the flow of the offense, the understanding of where to be relative to their spot on the floor defensively. So they miss out on that aspect. And that's what I worry about with Mark Williams. It's like you said, he's not doing 5-on-5 as of yet. And that's where we need him to really start to develop some semblance of chemistry with our quote unquote point guards in Devin Booker and Jalen Green. And him not being out there is something that is worrisome. Now, granted, you want to, given his injury history, be very cautious in the way that you approach this. And this is a new head coach with a new training staff and new kind of a lot of newness around who are navigating one of their first kind of they're players in these situations. He's a young guy, and the hope is that there's a strategy involved and the medical staff that goes, you know what, we can actually if we do this now, it's going to pay off for us in the long term because of his youth. The Bradley Beal situation that you mentioned, obviously being in with the Clippers and them already saying that he's limited, and it's just like, oh man, hashtag shit. I'm glad I don't have to worry about it anymore. But when it's an older player, it's much more worrisome because it's like, man, he might just be done. With a young player, you hope that the tempering of his availability is something that ultimately will create more availability down the line. So time will ultimately tell. I just know that I was excited to see Mark Williams play in that first game against the Lakers in Palm Desert this upcoming Friday, because I want to just, again, see him start to develop that chemistry, man.
Yeah, no, it's important. I think you can kind of see it. I did go to Fan Fest. I got
how
tickets,
was that?
It was pretty cool. They gave away a lot of stuff. I caught a t-shirt.
Anything? You got a t-shirt?
Well, they give away free t-shirts when you walk in, and then I caught one, and it was the same t-shirt.
It was.
But I did.
But if you got two of them
for it,
if you have two of them, you could like mend them together,
stitch
and then they
them
do fit you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Frankenstein.
No, I could definitely do that. It was cool. It was nice to see that they were doing some dancing stuff with the dancers and another like dancing group that were break dancing, and you kind of were like, oh, I don't think the players are coming out, and then they did come out. And then we actually won our row Phoenix Mercury tickets for the game 5 or game 4. And the gorilla came up and selected our row, and we won. And no one went to the game.
What? Oh, that sucks, man. They're going to the finals. They play in the finals on
but it was a
Friday.
Sunday night, and
it was a Sunday night.
Like, do I want to spend another $120 or $50 like going to the Mercury? Like, it's fun, but I don't have the money to spend. So no one went. I feel bad. Hopefully the gorilla's not watching. It's the last time I look at Matthew and select his role. So sorry. Go Mercury. Go Mercury. Love you guys.
God, do better. Be better.
I know.
My Atlanta.
It's bad.
Well, kind of just buttoning up the poor showing from Matthew. I didn't know that happened. Why didn't I hear about any of this, man? God,
I was waiting for the pod.
Oh,
well, you know what? When we were trying to get the Mercury tickets, I'm like, actually, don't select our row because it's a Sunday night, and I don't know if I'm going to want to go. But they did. So.
The only guy who wins something is like, please don't pick me. Please don't pick me.
Everyone's all pissed off around us because they want them. I'm sorry. I know.
Gosh darn it.
I'm a real dick.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, back to Mark Williams. I mean, we'll see. Wait and see. And I think the advantage of this, obviously, is the fact that there is depth at this position. If you look at Nick Richards, if you look at the rookie Kaman Malawach, and if you look at the fact that Oso Ighodaro can spell some 5 as well. So, again, I think the Suns have a luxury of attacking this the way that they are with fragile hands, if you will, because that's how you're going to have to just simply navigate this because you can. So we'll see what happens. Anything else Suns related before we get to the division preview?
No. I'm excited to see a little bit more clips. Are you watching the live streams where they have a training camp?
No, not really. I've tuned in a couple times, and it's just like a guy shooting a free throw. You're man, like Ryan Dunn's shooting free throws. Okay,
if something,
cool.
Something good happens, they'll put it on Twitter. So
exactly. Well, the interviews, Dwayne Rankin, Kellen Olson, Stefan Pridgian Gardner from PHNX. There's a bunch of people who are there all the time. So again, it's great to just it's just nice to see and hear the comments and see the players and Dylan Brooks being like, hey, we got a mini villain here. I'll let you guys figure out who it is. Like there's some breadcrumbs along the way that are grounds for excitement as it pertains to being just the fact that the season's starting. So. Yeah. Make sure you're following those guys on Twitter because they're at the practices every day. Make sure you read our writing at Bright Side of the Sun because I listen to those quotes, and then me and my writing team, Matthew included, we write things about what we hear and then have opinions on them. Speaking of opinions, it's time to get into some opinions on the Southeast Division. Ooh. We're going to be recording this. We'll have our post-game podcast on Friday. Then Sunday morning, we're going to go into the Western Conference and start with the Northeast. I'm gonna start off with the shittiest team, or one of the shittiest teams, probably the shittiest team in this division. I just want to bring it up and get this one out of the way. This is the Charlotte Hornets, perpetually a team that is just really not good at basketball. God damn it, the Dodgers gave up 2 runs because fucking Taylor.
I was wondering.
Hernandez.
I was like, did you get a text from somebody?
I'm watching the game down here.
I could tell.
and
I
fucking
could tell.
Teoscar Hernandez.
Oh,
You know,
shit.
so I got the game here, and Teoscar Hernandez had a pop fly that he could have caught, and he just dropped it. Just
He fucking
casually.
dropped it. Was he Aaron
Yeah.
Judge out there?
He
Noodle arm,
was doing
Aaron
his best
Judge?
Aaron Judge impression, and it led to 2 on, and then a guy got a single and just knocked in 2. So for all you anti-Dodger people, you're probably thoroughly enjoying that. But the Charlotte Hornets is something that nobody enjoys, and here's what they have. Okay, let's start. Their salary cap, $176.7 million. Last year's record, 19-63. They were 14th in the Eastern Conference. Their projected starting 5 will be LaMelo Ball, Con Knipple, Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, Mason Plumlee. Our buddy Mason Plumlee, who we know what he is starting for the Charlotte Hornets. And that's because what they did is in free agency, they added Spencer Dinwiddie, Mason Plumlee, and Antonio Reeves. They added Colin Sexton via trade and Pat Connaughton. They traded away Mark Williams. We know that. They traded away Yusuf Nurkic to the Jazz. They traded away Vasa Micic to the Bucks. So all of their former Suns, they just traded away, and then they're like, all right, just give me some Mason Plumlee. And they also lost via free agency Josh Okogie. So, I mean, you look at the Hornets, it's funny because we talk shit about the Hornets, and they're just a bunch of former fucking Suns. It's the one team we do transactions with. And then they had a bunch of draft picks. Drafted Con Knipple with the 4th overall pick, Liam McNeely with the 29th pick, which is the pick that the Suns had, and then traded away to get Mark Williams. With the 33rd overall pick, they took Sion James out of Duke, who I really liked, and then they also had the 34 pick right after that. They took Ryan Kalkbrenner out of Creighton, another player I really like. Yeah. So it's like you look at the Hornets, and they're a team that has players that I liked in the draft and a bunch of former Phoenix fucking Suns. Thoughts on the Charlotte Hornets this upcoming year?
Could they just turn things around eventually? Not this year, obviously, but eventually. I think Con Knipple was a really great pick. I think going for it for, a guy that's like all effort, can be like a fan favorite instantly, can maybe outshine LaMelo Ball there, maybe be the kind of the centerpiece in the future. I think you just got to go for it. And they did. I'm really proud of them for picking him at number 4.
Really?
LaMelo, yeah. I'm actually kind of excited. The Knipple brothers, we're going to hear about it all season long, and I think they belong in with the
flying
Hornets.
Knipples.
Yeah, so that way we don't hear about it too much. But yeah, the flying.
My problem with Knipple though is I just felt like, and again, when you're that high up in the draft, you should be just taking the best talent possible. I don't know if he was the best talent possible. I think he is a good foundational guy, a good basketball IQ guy. But with LaMelo Ball there and Brandon Miller there, now you're having Brandon Miller play more 3 instead of 2. I don't know. I just felt like he's somewhat of a duplicative player, but
yeah,
again,
he might be. Yeah,
he might be.
But that's the thing is like, are you going to rely on Brandon Miller to stay healthy to be the guy, LaMelo Ball to stay healthy and be the dude? I don't believe in those guys yet. So LaMelo Ball for me, I'm kind of out on. He's not as bad as a Trae Young to where it's like you question the teammates around him if they want to play with him and all that shit. But I feel like he is kind of turning into that player, and it might be that player. I think he's dynamic. He can share the ball. But he's more of, I think, a me player, just the Iron team kind of guy.
100%.
But he kind of is. But you know what? I've always been a fan of his. But I just want to see what they do with Knipple. Obviously, it's one of the teams that's going to be the lower in the conference, though.
Well, let's pull up our conference rankings. Continuing on, where are you going to put the Charlotte Hornets?
I got the Horny Hornets at number 13.
13. Okay, so there's a team in the Southeast that you dislike more. I have them at 14.
Okay.
Just ahead of the Brooklyn Nets. I just think that this team, until I see them win, I don't know if they know how to win. And I think that will ultimately be their challenge,
It always is.
Well, and here's the other shitty team that's in this conference and in this division. It's the Washington Wizards, okay? The Wizards added Marvin Bagley III in free agency. They lost Marcus Smart, who went back to the Lakers. In free agency, they lost Blake Wesley, who went to the Portland Trailblazers. And then via trade, they added C.J. McCollum from the New Orleans Pelicans in a trade that sent out Jordan Poole and Sadiq Bey, which I think is actually a plus, getting rid of Jordan Poole. Dylan Jones, Cam Whitmore, Blake Wesley, who they then lost, Malachi Barnum. And then in the draft, they took, at 6th overall, Trey Johnson, who I really like that kid. They took Will Riley with the 21st overall pick and Jameer Watkins with the 43rd overall pick. And you take a look at their starting five for a team that has a salary cap of 159.3. CJ McCollum, Chris Middleton, Bilal Coulibaly, Keyshawn George, and Alex Sarr. This team only won 18 games last year, Matthew. Do they win any more this year?
Well, I think they have a chance to win 20. I'm looking at the vets on that team. They got rid of obviously Kuzma last year in the trade to the Bucks, and then now got rid of Poole. The two guys that were kind of more selfish and kind of like doing their own thing. They were in their own world, so you kind of want to get rid of that. You got the veterans and CJ McCollum now, and Chris Middleton, but I don't think those guys really stay. I think a team down the line this season that might be a contender maybe can pull off a trade to get one of those dudes. CJ obviously is always a trade piece, no matter what season. He can be in the league, out of the league in 50 years from now, and people will still put him in trade proposals.
I know.
But he's still, I think, a value to a team. I know it's a big contract too, but I don't know. I just don't like this team, obviously. And these two teams are kind of like when we talk about the Raptors and the Bulls last pod. Yeah, it's just like that. It's like, do we have to talk about these guys? But we do, and we have to put them somewhere on the standings. So I have them at 14.
Okay, 14 for the Washington Wizards. I will say that their over-under is 21.5 this year.
21, okay.
So
I'll go under. I say 20 wins.
So you said 14, right?
Yep.
They're going to end up in 12 for me, just because that's the only slot I have left down there.
Doesn't that happen? You're like, oh, shit.
It does happen. Well, and remember,
like,
one thing we'll do at the very end is we'll see if we have an opportunity to change any of these around. I will say the one thing that I do like about him is I do think that they added some stability. I think that having Jordan Poole on the team is just one of those, he's one of those, again, you talk about me versus we players. He's definitely a me versus we player, whereas CJ McCollum isn't. Chris Middleton isn't. So you have some veterans, albeit injured veterans. Way to go, Mookie. Is that a double? I love you, Mookie.
Did he get it?
Yeah, you got a double. That's good. They have veteran players on the team, and I think that that's valuable. I like Bilal Coulibaly, I really do. And Alex Sarr is going to develop. So I think that this team does have some opportunity to have some promise because I think that their situation isn't as dire as like a team like the Hornets or the Raptors or definitely the Nets.
Yeah, and Alex Sarr, too. He might be one of those players where it's like, I just want to check in and see what this guy looks like on the floor because he's such a weird player. Like, you just don't know what you're watching. Well, for me, I mean, how many games did I watch of the Wizards last year? Maybe a couple. But in highlights, it's like, I don't know what I'm watching with this guy yet.
Yeah, the games I saw were the two against the Suns. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. And Johnny Timestamp says news. Mark Williams out for Friday. Yep, we went over that, baby.
Oh, yeah. I just responded. We covered that.
Late to the show.
Late to the show, man. Late to the show. All right, so we have 3 teams left in the Southeast.
Yeah.
We have Atlanta, we have Miami, we have Orlando. Matthew, which one should we go with next?
Let's just get Atlanta out of the way.
Okay, Atlanta. A team that in free agency added Luke Kennard, Charles Bassey, N'Faly Dante, Caleb Houston. They lost in free agency Karis LeVert, who's now with the Detroit Pistons. Dominic Barlow, Larry Nance Jr. is back with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then via trade, they lost Terrence Mann, Gorgees Niang, Drake Powell, Daquan Plowden, and Clint Capella. They added Nikhil Alexander Walker and Kristaps Porzingis. And then they drafted Asa Newell with the 23rd overall pick in the draft. This was the team that actually was higher in the draft, and the Pelicans traded with them to get Derek Queen, and then they got Asa Newell out of the deal. So they're 40-42 last year, 8th overall, salary cap of $181.4 million. That makes them a first apron team. Their projected starting 5 is Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, Zachariah Richeche, Jalen Johnson, and Kristaps Porzingis. Thoughts on the Hawks, man?
I always thought it was Worcestershire. That's what I always thought.
Worcestershire? Richeche. Zachariah Richeche.
Is that a sauce? Oh, Worcestershire. Worcestershire? Okay.
Worcestershire?
Worcestershire.
Or people say Worcester or woo-woo sauce is what we call it in the Army.
Is it woo-woo sauce? That's a lot easier.
That's what I call in the Army.
Speaking of woo-woo, dude, I think, Trae Young, man, what's this guy's deal? No, I'm just joking. I don't really want to go down that path anymore because we've talked about it the last few years with Trae Young. I think they have, a good guy in Jalen Johnson that they're going to probably trust a lot more with the ball. But when it gets down to like a guy like Trae Young and all the trade rumors every year, and it just seems like players obviously don't seem to be having a good time playing with him. I have a hard time believing in this team. I was kind of in last year, you know what I mean? I think I had them higher last year. But this year I'm just like, I'm out. I don't think they even make the playoffs this year. I have them seeded at, I have them at seeded number 12. I just think it's a blow up mode in a way. I just don't see this team happy. I know Kristaps is there, but healthy, who knows? I just see it going south for them. That's my prediction with this team.
I have the Atlanta Hawks third.
Third?
I have them third.
Dude.
I
Nice.
really think that they are making a run at it this year. I think that the addition of Kristaps Porzingis, I know he's injured a lot, but I think that you take that. Dyson Daniels is somebody who balances out Trae Young defensively. Ricochet is highly athletic. I think, and the depth on this team, and I gotta, let me pull up the old Atlanta Hawks depth chart, but I like their depth chart when I was looking at them. Atlanta Hawks depth Hawks. That's not what I wanted. Let's see. So Trae Young. Oh, I love Jalen Johnson too. They also have Onyeka Okongwu. I like Asa Newell. I like Luke Kennard as a backup. I like Nickeil Alexander-Walker as a backup. I think they have a lot of solid pieces on this team. Now, if you go to, FanDuel and you're taking a look at their division overall standings and where they could potentially fall, they're second in this division. Gosh, what is everything? I have everything set up, and then the moment we start recording, everything's like, well, hold on, asshole. I want you to lower. You got to earn this. It's like it's the end of Saving Private Ryan. He's like, earn this. Atlanta Hawks are plus 175 to win the Southeast. Okay, and if you want to talk about their overall regular season wins, again, knowing that this is a team that won 40 last year, their over-under is 47.5. So I think that they're a team that some people are starting to believe in, myself included. But, as Ozzy's Suns fan says, they're going the other way than blow it up, is what he says. He says, I agree. I think ATL is right up there this year, especially in a weaker East with the injuries. That's kind of how I feel. But if I'm feeling that way, and Gavin from the Ozzy Suns fans is feeling that way, and Matthew's feeling the other way, then I know that I'm wrong, because last year I was fucking horrible at this.
Well, no, it's just, I love the Nickeil Alexander-Walker. That's a guy, obviously, I wanted the Suns to pick up. Could not happen. I think they have really good pieces. They do, but it just comes down to Trae Young, and I'm just out on the dude. There's just guys I'm out on this year, and I'm sticking by it, and I'm putting them out of the playoffs. So,
all right,
I'm sorry, guys. I know a lot of people are high on the Hawks.
Let's talk about a team that I'm kind of out on, and that's the Miami Heat. They didn't do too much this offseason. They added Simon Fontecchio from Detroit via trade. They added Norman Powell. They lost via trade Duncan Robinson, Kevin Love, Kyle Anderson, Haywood Highsmith. They lost via free agency Isaiah Stevens. They added Kasparis Giannakunis in the draft, 20th overall. So their projected starting five is Tyler Hero, Norman Powell, Andrew Wiggins, Bam Adebayo, Khalil Ware. This is a team that was a 10th seed overall last year, $197.7 million on the salary cap. So they're a first apron team. So, they're one of those, and they just gave $62 million for over 4 years to Nikola Topic today. And the reason that you do that is because you don't have a lot of options. It's kind of like the Suns over the past couple of years, right? We paid Grayson Allen, we paid Royce O'Neal, not because they were worth it, but because you need to have some options. And providing those players with contracts secures them as an asset, and ultimately an asset that you can flip into something at a date to be named later. And I feel like the Heat are kind of a team that is in that, to be named later mindset right now. And for those reasons, I have them as the 10th seed in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I'm not too far off. I mean, oh no, I actually am. I have them at 7. So they're gonna be playing status. The reason really is because I feel like Powell, Hero, and Bam Adebayo, I really think that's a good 3. Like not a big 3, but it's a good 3. And I think with the coaching obviously there, and just the way the team does play hard, I'm not buying into the culture thing, but I just think it's a team that's kind of been there hanging out. They got rid of the Jimmy drama, all that shit. Now they can move on fresh. And I love Powell. I just think they have a good squad, a good enough squad in the East to just kind of make a little bit of a dent, just make it into the play-in.
Well, and it is the East, I mean,
Yeah,
again, injuries.
yeah.
And Aiden in the chat shouted, he says, Jovic, not Topic. Hella bad overpay. He's not even worth 5. Yeah, it's Nikola Jovic, not Jokic, but Jovic. That's who they paid $62 million. And I don't necessarily agree with that amount, but I think that, again, when you're in a rock and a hard places, where Miami is at, they don't have a ton of assets, so pay what you have in-house because he's on a restricted free agent. He's on that rookie contract, so you're trying to pay him into the next contract, if you will, so you can flip him. So, I mean, we'll see. And obviously this leaves us with the last team in the Southeast, and that is the Orlando Magic. They added Tyus Jones via free agency. They added Desmond Bane via trade. They lost Gary Harris. They lost Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Cole Anthony. They drafted Jace Richardson out of Michigan State at 25th overall and Noah Penda, 32nd overall. And their projected starting 5, Jalen Suggs, Desmond Bane, Franz Wagner, Paulo Banchero, Wendell Carter Jr. This team only won 41 games last year, 41-41, because they were unbelievably unlucky as it pertains to the injury bug. But with a salary cap of $194.7, I think they're just under the first apron. And with a snazzy new logo. I like the new logo for the Orlando Magic. This is a team that, a lot of people think that can make a splash in the Eastern Conference. How do you feel about them?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely very high on them. I think last year I kind of felt like they were kind of close. Now they have a big piece in Desmond Bane. I've always been a big Bane fan. I think he can be an all-star out East this year. I think that's really his ceiling. With Paulo Banchero obviously taking a big step in the playoffs, looking a little bit better.
Yeah,
him coming back, or Jalen Suggs coming back too. It's going to be something where Jalen Suggs is going to be the man coming in and kind of be the point guard, but also play off ball Apollo. So I think they have a good squad. It's good enough out in the East, obviously, but I just think they're the team to take the next step. I'm not saying like the Houston Rockets of last year, but kind of close to that.
But how much of a next step did the Rockets even take next year? They were a great regular season team game, but
But in the playoffs, they
didn't do shit really in the playoffs.
Well, I think them running into the Warriors, and I chose the Warriors in that series.
Running into the Warriors, though, they were the 2 seed. They should have.
The Warriors are one of those teams that are one of those teams that are still the veteran status team that got Jimmy Butler. They had all the knowledge of the playoffs with Draymond Green. So it was like their one last attempt. I don't think the Warriors are that good anymore this year. Where you were to face them as a 7th seed, it would happen again. But I just think the Rockets were kind of just, they had the Jalen Green experience last year, just, missing buckets, not looking too great. So,
and what do you think of the logo? This is what it looks like now.
I like it. Yeah, I like it.
It looks kind of like their original.
It's
logo.
hard to mess them up though, right? With the Magic, like I didn't like this one. The opposite of the Suns. Like it's the Suns, but it's just
but this one down here looks just kind of dumb. Like the old, it had like this weird streak, whereas this one just has some stars behind it, which is what the original logo kind of looked like.
So you just didn't like the black then, really, right?
No, I mean, because this logo has black on it. This is up here. This is this is the same logo here. I designed these things in 2 tones. So these are the different versions. But I didn't like this wizardry behind the basketball. It just looked kind of dumb. So you have them obviously slotted in as the 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference. I have them in the 5th. In reality, they should probably be 3rd and Atlanta should be 5th, but I just wanted to make something splashy. But I like what Aiden says in the chat, and he goes, not to be that guy, but Tyus with Orlando actually makes perfect sense. They've got great defensive players around Tyus. And I agree with that. I think the Tyus Jones is a great signing for them because they're a team who knows who they are. They have an identity. They can't shoot the 3 ball. Tyus can shoot the 3 ball. And Tyus Jones isn't going to be asked to run the offense there like he was here, or be a starter like he was here, because he did not run the offense with the Phoenix Suns. He was just somebody who would stand in the corner, was an undersized 3-point shooter who couldn't play defense. Now he's going to go to a team where he can be a 3-point shooter, and he doesn't have to necessarily play defense because you have got good defenders around them. So I think that, and obviously Vegas agrees, this is the team that is going to be, God, I'm so used to not podcasting, man. I'm just like, yeah. They're the guys who are, they're the guys who have the best odds to win the division. They are at -180 to win the Southeast Division.
Yeah.
So,
And does Paulo make that jump though, where it's kind of he was good last year, but I feel like does he make the jump to where he is kind of like the star of the league in a way, like he's like the top 5, top 6 guy this year?
I don't know if
Do you
he
think
can
he
go
has that potential?
high.
No, okay.
I think he has that potential. I don't know if he has it this year.
Okay.
I think a couple guys have to age out.
Yeah,
Because if you look at the top 5 players in the NBA, SGA, Jokic, Luka, that's kind of your top 3. Ant Edwards is in the conversation. Wemby is a guy
you think
who's
he's better
like
than Edwards though? Who would you rather have though, him or Edwards?
I'd rather have Paulo Banchero over Anthony
Me too.
Edwards.
Yeah, I was thinking
would.
that too.
You know, he's just a sustainable force, and I think from a maturity I think from a maturity standpoint, he's just somebody who I would like to have on my team. So,
yeah,
but I think that he has the potential to become, that top 10, because he's in the top 20-ish, in my opinion.
Okay.
I'll let you know after my fantasy basketball draft. Then you really kind of know who goes where and who's what and everything. So, all right. So taking a look at the Eastern Conference, we are now done with the Eastern Conference. Obviously, the next podcast that we'll do is on Friday. That's our post-game pod. And then Sunday morning, we'll start on the Eastern Conference, or the Western Conference, I'm sorry. But Matthew has the Cavs number 1, Knicks number 2, Magic number 3, Pistons number 4, Bucks number 5, Pacers number 6, Heat number 7, Celtics number 8, number 9 is the 76ers, Toronto number 10, Bulls number 11, Atlanta number 12, Hornets number 13, and the Washington Wizards number 14, and the Nets number 15.
Perfect.
And on my side, 15 Nets, 14 Hornets, 13 Toronto, 12 Wizards, 11 Pacers, 10 Heat, 9 Bulls, 8 Bucks, 7 Celtics, 6 76ers, 5 Magic, 4 Pistons, 3 Hawks, 2 Cavs, 1 Knicks. So if you're listening to this podcast and you have your little notepad out, go to our YouTube page, man. I got a graphic up. It's much easier to see and consume. So, I guess that's it for this here show. Anything else?
How do you feel?
want to
Pretty
touch on?
confident? You're gonna make some changes? I think I'm sticking with it, unless something happens or Giannis goes to the Hawks or something. Then I'll put him up a little bit.
I like where I'm at. I think maybe Orlando. I think Orlando and Atlanta are the two I would probably change. I might switch Washington and Toronto, but we'll do that at the very, very end.
Okay.
Sound good.
All right. Sounds great, dude.
All
I'm
right,
excited to actually do the West. Let's get out of the
me
East.
too. Yeah, let's get out of these. It's always gross to do these, but we appreciate everyone who's decided to stop by, say hi, hang out, watch us not know how to speak anymore because it's been so long since we've done these podcasts.
Well, you're watching a game while you're
Well, yeah, I'm doing like 4 things at once, dude. Like I'm trying to look up FanDuel odds while looking at the graphics, while seeing Max Muncy fly out, to right field to come back here, all while I'm talking. So hopefully
it'll be the same next pod.
Yeah, it'll probably be very similar next pod. But until then, Jamsters, we appreciate you hanging out. Make sure you subscribe, rate, review. Matthew, tell them what to do.
Aiden, we are live Friday night. Yes. Go home, love your family, though.
Hey, you're listening to the Suns Jam Session Podcast, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019.